Lou, over the past few years, I've seen firsthand the difference that you've made in our community. And whether you like it or not, I can't imagine anybody more deserving of this recognition.
Hey, thanks, GT. Lou, I know there's a big crowd with you this evening, and there's a reason for that. All of us view you as a leader. You've touched so many lives and accomplished so much for this community.
Lou, last week, Mike and I had a flag flown over the United States Capitol to honor your work and commitment to the community. And it's the least we could do to show our genuine gratitude for your service and for the example that you have set for us all.
And thanks, Lou, and we'll see you next time with the Yellow Dog. See you soon.
See you, Lou.
Mary Jo took the enormous risk of asking me to fill in for her tonight. She called me last night around 10 o'clock. I was in the middle of The Godfather, so I'm not paying close attention to the conversation. But anyway, she asked me to do the presentation. She's tied up in what's called appropriations, and appropriations is important. But she said, you'll be glad to know the reason I'm staying in Harrisburg is because we're doing the appropriations for the judiciary tomorrow. And she felt that she should be fronting that one. So anyways, I am filling in for her. You know, we've had a running debate, the two of us throughout our elected careers, as to which one of us, by virtue of our status, should get introduced first. In the judicial settings, I usually get the honor. And in the settings where the legislature is involved, she usually gets the honor. But I frequently argue with her, and I've been introduced actually in the legislature. I swore in the President Pro Tem some years ago, the Senate. But anyways, so I got introduced before her there. But anyways, she says, well, look, I set your salary. And I say, yeah, but, you know, I could have you I could commit you. In any event, she'll be glad to know that at Oil City, the judge wasn't introduced at all, and that the senator was. With that, I'd like to take lead to introduce our highly esteemed President Judge Oliver Lobaugh, who's here tonight, and I think that in honor of the judiciary, we should at least applaud Judge Lobaugh for his good work. I go back with Lou Kraft because I grew up in Oil City, and I remember the family and the trucks and the family. My father was a prominent Oil City businessman and had profound respect for Kraft family and the Kraft Concrete Works, and I've known Lou a long time. Frankly, tonight, as I've thought about Lou, I keep thinking back to Lou Petula and how thrilled he'd be for you. You two were probably as close of friends as anybody I've ever known. And spending an evening at the Yellow Dog with a couple of drinks with you two guys was about as much fun as anybody could ever have. And he'd just be beside himself. He'd be just gloating tonight. He'd be so proud of you. Just two wonderful people. You know, I think a reflection of Lou is the fact that, probably 10 years ago, they were putting new curbs in Franklin. At that time, I was walking to work and his workmen were there early in the morning as I'd walk to work, and everybody in Franklin would comment, and I certainly noticed this, how courteous and pleasant those workmen were. They had our total downtown torn up, all the sidewalks, all the curbs. But these guys, as you encounter them, they'd direct you where to walk and so on. They were so nice. And I suppose you could say, well, that's not Lou's responsibility, but I believe it is. I believe that those workmen were so nice and so generous because it reflects the quality of the leadership of that company. The other thing I'd like to point out with Lou is it's been a bad year for Pitt. And I'm an avid Pitt fan, and I know Lou bleeds Pitt, and I can only hope that it's going to get better. So at least this part of this year is good. One other thing I'd like to mention, I have a good friend who was just mentioned, Jim Schwab, and you should be aware, this is characteristic of Jim, he doesn't want anybody to know the scope or the nature of his illness. His comment is, if I wanted to know, I'll let him know myself. However, I can tell you that his son Doug is taking him to Grandview tonight from Shadyside in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure he'd be thrilled or delighted if those of you who know him and like him as I do would send him a card or a note, and I'm sure he'd welcome that. He's at Grandview, effective tonight. Now, on behalf of the Pennsylvania State Senate, that we're hopefully they're going to get our budget done in time this year. I'm going to read the resolution which my wife has had passed by the Senate, and this is for Lou. Whereas the Senate of Pennsylvania takes great pleasure in recognizing those citizens who, through dedication and excellence, contribute to a meaningful way to the well-being of their communities and ultimately to all the people of this great Commonwealth. And whereas Louis R. Kraft will be honored by the Venango Area Chamber of Commerce as the 2011 Citizen of the Year during its annual dinner, which will take place on February 29th, 2012. And whereas a lifelong resident of Oil City and member of the Good Hope Lutheran Church, Mr. Kraft is a 1950 graduate of Oil City High School. He attended the University of Pittsburgh with emphasis and served this country with honor and distinction as a member of the United States Army Reserve, during which time he was employed with his father's company, the owner of Kraft Concrete Products, Inc., and the Louis Kraft of Oil City. Mr. Kraft is an aggressive proponent of workforce excellence in the region and has served for 25 years on private and public boards that promote regional job training. An avid supporter of the Salvation Army, he has been directly involved in construction projects and fundraising campaigns and was instrumental in the building of an emergency disaster garage, the expansion of the Oil City Salvation Army facility, and the creation of a dental center. Additionally, Mr. Kraft serves on numerous civic committees and generously supports the Venango Museum of Oil City. Now, therefore, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Louis R. Kraft upon his richly deserved recognition, affirmatively states that he is a shining example of the community spirit whose many contributions are worthy of deep gratitude and respect. And we direct that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senator Mary Jo White, be transmitted to Louis R. Kraft, Willis Street, Oil City, Pennsylvania. Lou, it's quite an honor for me to give this to you, and notwithstanding I'm doing this for Mary Jo, I really love you and appreciate you.
Just a couple of quick observations about Lou before I make my presentation also. And that I think it's obviously the judge hit on the athletic side about Pitt and how important that is, and he also I thought it was fitting that we had our two congressmen up on the screen, because for years and years being involved in political in the background of political activities. I know it's something that has been very important to Lou. But I also had a couple of other thoughts when I think about Lou Kraft and the real institution that he is in our community. And it is so fitting that he's has built his life in the construction industry, because he is a builder. He's a builder of our community. He is a builder not only of buildings, but he has helped build institutions through his generosity of time and treasure. And maybe even another step is the fact that Lou has been someone who helps to build people, because he is deeply committed to education and workforce and development and helping people better themselves. And I think that's a tribute to the man who is Lou Kraft. I also, when I think about Lou, I think of the term living history, because folks, I was shocked that he wasn't on that screen for the 100 years ago at the beginning of. He has been around for so long and involved in so many ways. I mean, let me know. I don't know this, but I bet you I'm right. Lou, I'm sure this is the third fountain that you've been involved in building in Oil City, and we know he's front and center on our efforts to put another fountain over in East End. But that's just, it's always a pleasure to hear, as someone myself who's very interested in history and also interested in our community, to hear, some of the background stories of things that happened, both good, bad, and many times funny stories of things that happened as our community has gone through the years. And it really makes me think about those Paul Harvey radio spots where he talks about, and now you know the rest of the story. That is really a forte of Lou Craft, because he was there when the rest of the story was happening. So without further ado, Lou, I do have a citation from the House. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but just to let you, I'll finish it up here and know that we are all very grateful for everything you've done and continue to do to make Oil City a very special blend of people. Thank you, Lou.
I don't know what's happened to this program tonight. My firm instructions were to be brief and not to be reading the whole proclamation, because we don't have time for all that. I have to say that I probably didn't know Lou real well over the years, but I always knew of him. He was one of those ball players from down at senior high when I was one of those little chickies up at St. Joe's, and he was just far enough ahead of me that I, heard the name, and I knew about the Kraft Company and all that over the years. It's probably only been in the later years that I've come to appreciate Lou as a citizen of Oil City and all the good things he's done. Now I have a proclamation here that has about 5 whereases that tells you all the wonderful things he's done. But I'm going to end with just, now therefore I, Barbara F. Crudo, Mayor of the City of Oil City, do hereby proclaim February 29, 2012 as Lou Craft Day in the city, and encourage our citizens to congratulate him for being named the Venango County Chamber of Commerce 2011 Outstanding Citizen of the Year.